Thanks, Gregor. Afternoon, Paul. What's the latest update for Adam Lowry, please?
Yeah, he didn't skate today. He's still going through testing, and he'll have a better idea tomorrow.
We'll go next to Mike Mcintyre from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Mike.
Afternoon, Paul. I'm sure you expect nothing less from Connor Hellebuyck. You know how he's wired, but he comes out and says, I shouldn't have got pulled. I thought I had my good game. I mean, that doesn't surprise you, right? And is that part of what makes him such a competitor, that day after attitude?
There would not be a night going back to his first year that he got pulled that he thought he should have been pulled. And that's, in his mind, he's going to stop the next 75 shots he faces. And that's all part of it. I mean, he was like our hockey club in that game. I got a high level of expectation for him. He's played an awful lot of hockey, and we want to make sure that the minutes on him are right. And if I don't think it's going for him, or I don't think there's enough up front to tell me that in a game in the three-quarter pole of the season, as important as it was, going to make a change.
We'll go next to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Paul.
Paul, Pierre-Luc Dubois was out here talking about how the team needs to maybe be a little more, I don't know if intensity is the word he used, or physical, but more edge, maybe is how we put it. How hard is that going to be if you do lose Adam Lowry for a little while?
Yeah, I don't think it has any impact on it. I think we felt in our last two games that we were sluggish in our game. So when that happens, all the kind of things, whether it's physicality, puck speed, all those things are a little bit behind it. They were better at that part of the game than we were last night. But, not having Adam in our lineup means maybe you miss Adam Lowry's intensity, but that won't affect the rest of the group.
We'll go next to Kelly Moore from 680 CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, good afternoon, Paul. When you look on the videotapes, is there a discernible difference between how the team is playing on the road and how they are playing at home?
Well, other than far more infrequently at home, there isn't in the games. I don't think that we're in the kind of rhythm that lets you, where you go two on the road. We just spent a whole lot of time on the road, and we haven't spent a whole heck of a lot of time at home. We've come off the road trip, and I just didn't feel we had the jump in our first two games back off that trip, and the block. We just seemed a little sluggish on the ice. So I don't think that's a function of being at home.
We'll go next to Sarah Lesky from TSN. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, Paul. You said that you obviously weren't surprised by Connor's reaction and just that he never wants to get pulled. Do you have a conversation with him after an early pull like that in an intermission or after the game, or is that something that you leave to wait?
Oh, always the next day, right? So there would always be a conversation that happens, but I would never do it. And some of that's just personality, his and mine, right? It's usually better. Any conversations about anything in an event like that, I'll leave it to the next day. I won't do it that night. I mean, I guess I would if I thought I really needed to get a message of hope. Like if you do it to a goaltender that's not established, mentally strong, and you're worried about where his psyche goes, you probably try to get to him as early as you can. I don't spend any time worrying about Connor's mental strength.
We'll go next to Jason Bell from the Free Press. Go ahead, Jason.
Good afternoon, Paul. I respect your answer last night to me about a bit of a pushback after the incident. If you recall the answer about circling a guy's name, and I appreciate that why that came out last night. On reflection,
I had reflected on that last night. It just didn't take me very long.
No. What about? I'm going to ask you to reflect on it now, though, and maybe again I'm off base. Maybe I just don't understand how. The priorities.
And I appreciate your stick-to-itiveness.
Would you like to have seen a reaction? There was no reaction with Brady Tkachuk on Wheeler. What Pierre-Luc Dubois reacted last night when Morrissey was hit from behind. And I know you're trying to win hockey games, and they're always one-goal games and specialty teams kick in. But when does the stick up to it, stick up for your teammate kind of kick into it? Tell me as a layman.
How would my answer be different if you were a professional? got lots of faith in our heart, character, chemistry, and stick-to-itiveness. We're chasing a game, and we're trying to win it. Guys get banged up, we'll bang their guys up, they'll bang our guys up. The game doesn't turn on that, where they're not running us out of our building. It's the league can handle that stuff. We would never get involved in circling a name.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weber.
Well, I realize it looked like you only had 7D out there, but are you considering Pionk Morrissey, or was that just a rotation? And also looked like you used Stanley on the right-hand side, or what can you tell us about, you know, your plans for tomorrow on the back
I
end?
only wanted 7 defensemen on the ice today because of the fact that we had 4 days, a game and a practice day. And that 8th guy at times can slow the rhythm and the rotation of how many reps a player gets. So there was a stretch of time, I think a year or two ago, where we were incredibly healthy on our blue line for a long stretch of time, which was highly unusual for our team. And I thought our blue line was slower because of it, because we ran 8 in practice all the time. So I only wanted 7 on the ice today, and those are the guys I picked.
We'll go next to Mike Mcintyre from the Free Press. Go ahead, Mike.
Paul, just sort of a quick two-parter here. So you guys have had a few, obviously, headshot where you've been on the receiving end. The Lowry one, there was no supplemental that we've heard. The Wheeler one, there wasn't, but the Pro one, there was. Does that just speak maybe to how fast the game is? And the one that didn't result in injury is the one that nets a fine. And second part is, you know, minor hockey, they've kind of taken a blanket approach with headshots that you hit a guy in the head, accidental, on purpose, whatever, you get kicked out of the game. Could that ever work in the NHL, or is the game just too fast, something so hard and fast?
I don't know the answer to that, in that it's a competitive thing, and you're not going to like any of the calls that go against you. You probably won't agree with too many of them. You would always think if it happens to you, the other team should get more. When you do it, you know, you don't like the call against you. I would say from a player safety point of view, that unless it's really black and white, which is very hard to do in a motion-paced sport, you are gonna be left with a feeling of inconsistency, and that's just a function of the game. And I probably feel that way right now, but I'm aware of the fact that it's a difficult thing to pin down.
Just a couple more for Coach. We'll go next to Murat Atesh from The Athletic. Go ahead, Murat.
Thanks, Gregor. Paul, if there's no value to this, no sweat if it's a 2-word answer. I'll preface it with that. So I guess you know what you're getting in a way.
Well, you've set yourself up for a short one today, Murat.
Well, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have undercut. Here's the question, though. I mean, you've got the Thornton hit, you've got the Galchenyuk hit, you got the hit from behind, you got the Hyman high stick. I'm looking at just a pattern emerging with the Toronto Maple Leafs now. Is this a new look for them? And here's the question: are they a dirty team now?
I don't think so. I don't feel that. The league has said they're not, so we will abide by the league's rulings.
And final question to Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Sean.
But they are a poorer team, right? There's some fines. Probably they'd be looking at some part-time jobs now, because that's got to hurt.
Thanks, Gregor. Hey, Paul. I know down the stretch here, you've wanted to learn stuff about the teams that you may see in the playoffs. On a night where you feel like your team is sluggish, or maybe Connor doesn't get the performance that you...
Wasn't on Connor.
Okay, sure. On a night where the team is sluggish and maybe doesn't show you exactly what you want to see from the team, does it get harder for you to learn what you need to learn from the opposing team?
No, it's a really great example. It's the perfect learning tool. So you go in and you beat Montreal 5-0. You're not at the point where your learning is done, right? This is the things that happened in that game are great for us to look at, to get ourselves to another level that we're going to need to get to. We've got, kind of 5 games in a row here against teams that are in the playoffs right now. And we're all trying to amp up for the postseason. So it's good to see it. It's good to see it. They were quicker than we were last night, and we need to get to another level.